13 and 14. Psalm 27, verses 13 and 14. When you find it, say again. Psalm 27, verses 13 and 14. And the writer says, I had fainted, unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord.
Right now. Right now.
We'll stop right there.
Yes.
And I just want to use for a moment. The Lord is worth waiting for.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
The Lord is worth waiting for. Y'all give me a few minutes, and I'm not going to be long-winded. January 6, 2021. I was at work, and while I'm at work, I have the tendency to watch the news. I tell folks that, especially people who don't like watching the news or don't watch the news at all, that, you need to watch what's going on in the world around you. Not saying you involved in everything that's going on around you, but you need to know what's happening around you. And while I was watching the news, something, it was the certification of the Electoral College results from our nation's presidential election. That was supposed to be going on at that time. And we know what the news was covering all the way leading up to that day. But while that was occurring, there was a rally that was taking place in the middle of, or as Congress was certifying the Electoral College results from each state. While they were certifying that vote, or certifying those results, somebody decided that it was smart to rile up a crowd of people who were already angry for one reason or another, tell them that they needed to march on the Capitol and give folks a piece of their mind. We're going to cheer on the ones that support us, and for people who don't support us, well, we'll see what happens. These people decided that not only should they march on our nation's capital, but that they would break down the doors, the windows, not only to disrupt practice that constitutionally has been occurring for the last 240 years, but because the results of the election did not go the way that they wanted it to. Brothers and sisters, my reasoning for saying that now is twofold. Number one, I have come to find out in this life that everything is not going to go the way I want it to go.
Watch out!
Are y'all gonna pray with me? figured out, and it took me a minute to figure this out. I ain't gonna say I've always had it together, or I've always known this. But what I've come to find out in my living, that everything is not going to go my way. It is not going to happen the way that I wanted it to happen. I can tell you, I've had to live with some disappointment. I've had to live with some heartache. I've had to live with some frustration. And if you ain't too mean or too funny, you are just like me. Everything ain't always happened the way you planned for it to go. Everything ain't always went down the way that you hoped it would go down. I'm pretty sure that when you were 5 years old, you had dreams of being a movie star or a millionaire. Is this thing on? You had hopes and aspirations of living in multi-million-dollar mansions and having hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in the bank. And yet our reality is that some of us are just barely making it. No, we ain't living in multi-room mansions. Some of us have all of our life piled up into one room. I wish y'all help me preach this thing. We have had to acclimate and adapt ourselves to the hand that we were dealt. We have had to modify and change some plans and some thoughts and some processes on the ways that we have wanted things to go. Or am I talking to somebody? You have had to take up and move a different kind of way and transform your way of thinking. Simply because stuff that you thought at 5 years old ain't quite the way you see things at 50 years old. Can I preach for a minute? Brothers and sisters, here it is, Brother David finds himself in a messed up situation. There's some things that, you know, we think that we get over, that we get past, that we will never have to deal with again. But unfortunately, David finds himself in an all too familiar situation. David finds himself on the run. David finds himself having to deal not with the enemies on the outside, but he has to deal with the enemy within. What you talking about, preacher? I'm so glad you asked. David is on the run from his own son. I wish y'all help me talk this thing out. Sometimes the thing, the person, the people that you hold close and dear to you will be the first ones to take up and turn their back on you. You don't see things their way. You don't operate and function the way it is that they want you to operate and function. You ain't doing stuff how they want you to do it. And all of a sudden, they want to take up and turn their back on you. Yeah, brothers and sisters, our situation may not necessarily be like David's situation, but we've all gone through when somebody is trying to take up and destroy us. No, they may not be out to kill you, but if they can destroy your name, destroy your character, it can do just as much, if not more damage than have they just took a gun and shot you. I wish y'all help me preach in here. Brothers and sisters, David finds himself on the run from his son. And here it is at the close of this 27th number of Psalms. He turns around and he gives a personal testimony. I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Brothers and sisters, how many of us have been on the brink, at the very tip, at the edge? We were almost there. How many of y'all almost lost your mind? You almost lost everything. You almost had to take up and you was getting ready to throw everything and forsake everybody. You almost got there. Yeah, brothers and sisters, okay, I can't talk about you, but maybe I can talk about myself. There were plenty of times in my life, and I'm sure that if the Lord lets me live a few more days, I'm going to have some more times where I would have almost fainted. I wish y'all talked to me in here. There's some disappointments and heartaches can get you to the point where you would have just given up. Some disappointments and heartaches had you to the point where you were ready to throw in the towel. Some disappointments and heartaches had you to the point where you were ready to say, God, I don't care no more. And brothers and sisters, I can honestly tell you that January 6, 2021, when I sat there and I watched that stuff happen on the news, I got frustrated. I ain't ashamed to say it. I'm not. There ain't no shame in my game. I was frustrated because I did not understand how it is that God can be so wonderful, merciful, and good, and still allow some folks to have the mindset that think that their way of life is so great, grand, and awesome that they can go into our nation's capital and try and take it over. And call that the American way of life. I did not understand it. I didn't get it. And all intent and purposes, brothers and sisters, I still don't get it. Amen, lights. Thank you, walls. God bless you. Brothers and sisters, folks was standing there beating on the door. Breaking down the doors of our nation's capital, the thing that has been a symbol of freedom and justice around the world. It is printed on every single piece of currency that we have in our pocket right now. It is known around the world as a symbol of democracy. And this handful of people took up and decided that because they couldn't get their way, they're going to take up and knock the doors down. I had fainted.
All right.
I had fainted. Lord, how is it that we can allow for this to happen? But it was unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Because even while that was occurring, down in the great state of Georgia, they were completing their senatorial runoff. And while they were completing their senatorial runoff, while all of that was going on in Washington, God said, flip the channel and see what else is occurring in the world that's around you. They were certifying the election of not one but two brand new senators from the state of Georgia. Now I know y'all wondering what this got to do about God. God is yet working. While foolishness is occurring and going on all around us, in our nation's capital, God is still moving in the background. Brothers and sisters, all of us in here today ought to be grateful and glad that God is yet working in our background. One thing that I have learned that has amazed me about magic shows, y'all want to know why I love magic so much? Because the magician has your attention on one thing. But while he has you focusing on this thing right here, there's some stuff that's going on in the back that you are not aware of. And brothers and sisters, God had to take up and show me and tell me that Johnson, that even though there's some stuff going on that you do see, there's some things working in the background that you don't see. And what I've come to realize and understand that everything that's occurring in my life, no, I may not be where I want to be, but I thank God that he was working in the background so that things ain't as bad as they could be. I wish somebody in here could talk back to me and say beyond a shadow of a doubt that you are so glad right now that God is working somewhere in your background. No, you may not have as much money as you want to have, but you got something in your pocket. You may not be working the job that you want to work, but you got some type of job. You got something to help make your ends meet. No, you ain't driving the kind of car that you want to drive. No, you ain't living in the house that you really wanted to live in, but thank God that he was working in the background. I'm almost through. Brothers and sisters, I had fainted unless I had believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. David gives us here his personal testimony. He gives us eyewitness account that God is yet, I would have been in the same position that some of other folks would have been in. I would have given up. I would have thrown in the towel. Had it not been for the fact that God was working in the background. If I had not seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Brothers and sisters, it's an amazing thing that God ain't gonna wait until we get to heaven to do some blessing. Y'all ain't gotta say nothing. I know I'm right about that one. God ain't gonna wait until we get to glory to bless. God will yet bless right now in the midst of it all. Let me tell you something. You may not be driving what you want to drive, but it could be possible that you wouldn't even have had that to drive. Y'all will catch that on the way out the door. You wouldn't have had that to drive if it had not been for God on your side. That's him working in the land of the living. Brothers and sisters, you may not be living in the house that you want to live in, but you sure enough wouldn't have been able to get the house that you got if it had not been for God blessing in the land of the living. Y'all still ain't caught it yet. Some of us would have been sick, dead in our grave had it not been for the fact that God took up and put some common sense into a doctor and allowed him to work on your behalf so that you could be here, right? Okay, y'all still quiet on me. I wish somebody help me preach this thing. Yeah, them accidents that you avoided on your way to church, on your way to work, while you going to and fro, all of the things that could have organized themselves against you, and God said no.
Thank you, Lord.
God is still blessing. God blesses in the land of the living. Yeah. Everybody looking for the materialistic blessings, but you woke up this morning. You may not have had all of your strength, but you had some of it. You may not be in all of your right mind, but you got some mind. It brought you here.
All right.
You gonna hurt somebody.
Yeah, God is yet blessing in the land of the living. Some folks sitting up here, they having pity parties all day long because they ain't got no job and yet you still eat. God is yet blessing in the land of the living.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Brothers and sisters, I sat there and I watched that news program and I got frustrated, so frustrated by what I was watching. I was disturbed by what I was watching, because how could this be the place where I live? Yeah, we may have differences of opinion. You may not see things the way I see things, but surely we can disagree without becoming violent. Surely we can have a civil discussion on our disagreements, and if you still don't see things the way I do and I don't see things the way you do, we ain't got to take up and go through all of that. And yet this is what I was bearing witness to. And I said, Lord, you're going to have to help me make sense of that. And he said, Johnson, one thing that you got to know and understand, that everybody has their own facts. You believe things how you believe them, and I believe things the way I believe them. He says, but one thing, Johnson, remains true. Throughout all of what you bear witness to on this television, what you have bore witness to through 2020, and what if you live to see any more days, the one thing that is true and universal is that God is still good. While that was going on in Washington, I was in the safety and sanctity of my office. I still was able to get up and get in my car and drive home, frustrated and all. God said, look at how good I am. That while that is going on in the nation's capital, that I'm still taking care of you right here in St. Louis. I wish somebody help me understand this thing and know and understand that God is able to be present wherever it is that we need him to be. And he says it may look chaotic and confusing right now, but boy, I got my hands on that situation too. Because you got to know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord. He said when it's all said and done and the smoke is cleared and emotions have settled, it's all going to work out for your good. And brothers and sisters, I'm so glad that everything just continues to work out for my good. I don't have all of the steak and lobsters to eat, but I'm still eating. It's working out for my good. I may not have the six-figure job, but it's working out for my good. You may not be where it is that you want to be, but thank God you ain't where you used to be. It's working out for your good. It may even be a struggle for you to get up in the morning just to get your day started, but you got up. It's working out for your good. Is there anybody in here that can be a witness and testify to the fact that God is still working things out for your I had fainted unless I had believed. To see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Yeah, brothers and sisters, we ain't gotta wait until life is over on this side. God got some good things in store for us right now. If we believe, God is able to open up doors right now. If we believe, God is able to make a way out of no way. If we believe right now. He said I would have fainted. But I see the goodness of the Lord right now in the land of the living. He closes this particular psalm out, and then I'm through, with a declaration to all of us. He says, he gives his personal testimony in verse 13. But he gives us an exhortation in verse 14. He says, wait on the Lord. And while you're waiting on the Lord, be of good courage. Brothers and sisters, what I come to find out is that while I'm waiting on the Lord, I've had some repossessions of my vehicle. You're going to have to deal with some foreclosure notices while you're waiting on the Lord. You're going to lose a job while you're waiting on Him. You're going to take up and lose some marriages. You're going to lose some friendships. You're going to lose some relationships. Some stuff that you thought would never take up and walk away from you, you're going to lose while you're waiting on God. But he said, yeah, some folks are going to die waiting on the Lord. I never thought that I would have to take up and preach a sermon, Mother Brown, without my grandfather sitting behind me and my grandmother sitting in front of me. But God says some folks are going to leave while you're waiting.
All right now.
Yes, sir.
But while you're waiting, don't get frustrated. While you're waiting, don't go to bed angry. While you're waiting, don't stay there too long. While you're waiting, don't let your heart get discouraged. While you're waiting, don't take up and give up and throw in the towel. Be of good courage. And a funny thing happens when we are of good courage. The Lord comes in and He strengthens. He will strengthen our heart. Listen, God ain't gonna let you go through by yourself. Oh, help me preach this thing, Holy Ghost. God ain't gonna let you go through by yourself. Isaiah says, they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up on wings like an eagle. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Come on, y'all too late. They that wait upon the Lord, we have to be of good courage. There's going to be some things that come upon us that'll make us want to throw in the towel. But thanks be to God that He is able to give us a little more strength. He is able to take up and give us exactly what we need when we need it the most. Can I leave y'all with a story? There was a story once told about Mike Tyson. He was in a heavyweight bout, and they said, Tyson, how did you manage to last as long as you did? He said, I thought about it, and I thought that if I just held on until I could get through this round, I could make it to the end. And brothers and sisters, sometimes in your life, we're going to have some heavyweight bouts. It ain't going to be over in the first round, but I'm so glad. Said I'm glad today that the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong, but to he that endures until the end. I don't know how y'all feel about it. I want to run to see what the end gonna be. I want to make it so I can see the Lord for myself. Is there anybody in here that's got a made up mind that you know beyond a shadow of a doubt stand on your feet, throw your head back, and tell the Lord, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait. I got a made up mind to wait on Him. It does not matter what I'm going through. It does not matter how hard it may get. It does not matter what I'm experiencing. I'm gonna wait on the Lord. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. I got a made up mind to wait on the Lord. Why? Because I've come to find out that waiting on the Lord will pay off after a while. Is there anybody in the house here today? You've been waiting on God for so long. You've gone in after a while more. He didn't come yesterday. He may not come today, but He will come after a while. I heard a songwriter say, trouble in my way. I may have to cry sometimes. Trouble in my way. I may have to cry sometimes. I lay awake at night, but that's all right, because Jesus will fix it. Jesus will fix it. Jesus will fix it after a while. Is there anybody in here that know He'll fix it? You know He'll fix it. You gotta shout it, yeah. Shout it, yeah. Say, yeah. I know He'll fix it after a while. By and by, when this life is over, I'm gonna fly away to be at rest with the Lord. Have I got a witness in here? Have I got a witness? Somebody in here. I just want to tell you to hold on, and be strong. God will take care of you. Beneath His wings, a lullaby. God will take care of you. Let the rain fall. Let the storm rise. Let the lightning flash. Let the thunder roll. God, I said, God, He will take care of you. Have I got a witness? Have I got a witness? Have I got a witness? Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. Say it. He died over 2,000 years ago. They hung him up high deep. They stretched him out wide. He died on the border of the cross. He stayed in the rain for 3 long days. But early, I said early. When I sat there and I watched that stuff happening on the news, God had to come and tell me, boy, if I've been able to take care of you, all your life, I can handle this little situation. This ain't nothing. And he said, and even if I move my hand
Watch out now. You reprobate.
and allow for them to happen, what makes you think that I still won't be able
All right, come on now.
to take care of you?
Thank you.
It was on that note, brothers and sisters,
Yes, Lord.
that I got out my car, went in my house, closed my door, locked it behind me, made my dinner, took my shoes off, laid in my bed, and slept good that night. Because I've just come to the conclusion that I've lived long enough to see the goodness of God right now. And even if I ain't seen it yet, David said, wait.
Wait.
Even if you believe that God ain't been good to you, I know that's a lie. But even if it is your belief that God ain't been good, David said, just wait. Be of good courage. The Lord will strengthen your heart. Wait, I say, on the Lord. God bless you. And God keep you. The doors of the church is open. Accepting a member Christian experience candidate for baptism, or you may come by letter. The doors are open. Oh, I have time. Give God some praise. Hallelujah. We thank and praise God for what He's done. We hope that you got a thought from the message.